Injection molding startup and shutdown. These are the minimum requirements for all team members involved in the mold setup and process. Did you read all engravings, tags, notes, and schematics attached to the side of the mold? If the mold is sequential, did our process manager train you how to run the mold? Do you have a copy of the molding process parameters from the previous tryout? Are the molding process parameters saved in the molding press? If the mold is new and you are doing pre-production tryouts, did our program manager or tool engineer provided a copy of the plastic resin manufacturer required molding process parameters and data sheet? Did the program manager or tool engineer provide a copy of the last known molding tryout we received from the mold manufacturer? Did you verify if the material has been dried or requires drying? Did you verify if we are using the right material as noted on the work order? Do you have master samples molded parts? Did you verify if we are using the right material as noted on the work order? Must do for preventing crash and damage to the mold. If the mold is not running production and it is in the press, keep it closed and keep the hot runner off. If the mold is in the press warming up for production, keep it closed. If the mold in the press but stopped production for unexpected issues, keep mold closed. If the mold in the press for a tryout but no one is available for the tryout, keep the mold closed and keep the hot runner off. If the mold in the press but you had to walk away from it, keep the mold closed. If you in the first shift and prepared the mold for the second or third shift production, keep the mold closed and make sure the hot runner is off. Reciprocal for all shifts. Always check the gate area, make sure it is clean and free of solid plastic before you click on the go button. Quick check and overview of the mold. These are tasks for the process technician or engineer. Check all water lines, make sure they are connected correctly in and out. Check the hot runner box and connectors, make sure no loose or damaged wires. Check the nozzle orifice and sprue orifice for match up. Make sure the cavity and cores are cleaned. Make sure all vents are open. Look for leaks and cracks. Lightly clean the sprue bushing and the hot runner gate. Check for rough spots, loose components and blockage. Make sure all wires for the limit switches are connected. Make sure all hydraulic lines are connected. Make sure the hot runner air lines are connected. Make sure the mold setter and the maintenance departments have followed all the required steps. Look for their checklist and review. Use the stored optimized process parameters and find a copy in the project book. Startup, in general. When starting up an injection machine that has been in operation, it is best that all the barrel and downstream components have reached the set zone temperatures for a minimum of a half hour. Some machine manufacturers preset the machine with a soak delay to make sure that the equipment is not cold started. After all of the zones have gone through the proper soak time, the screw rotation can be initiated. The screw speed should not exceed 15 to 20 RPM, so as not to damage the contact surfaces of the screw and barrel. As soon as the screw reaches the set speed, the slide gate on the hopper can be opened. Must start with purging the system clean from old material. Know the optimized process parameters. Turn on and or raise the temperature to 50 degrees Fahrenheit or 10 degrees Celsius above the minimum operating temperature for the purging material. When the desired temperature of the purging material has been reached, begin rotating the screw slowly to avoid too much torque. The purge may still be stiff, so do not rotate the screw at full RPM. If the purge compound exiting the machine shows signs of contamination, introduce more purging material until the compound flushed out is clean. Thoroughly clean the hopper and adjust temperature settings for your next production resin. Using your next production resin, flush out the remaining purging material. Thoroughly clean machine nozzle and sprue bushing to remove any contamination. Move machine carriage forward to make contact with mold sprue bushing. Continue to run next production resin through the hot runners until it is clean. Check gates in mold for any blockage or drool and start the production run. Start up for the barrel and screw. Maintain temperature and RPM settings for resident resin from previous run. Retract injection unit from mold, leaving ample room for purge to exit nozzle. Disconnect or shut off auxiliary feeding equipment and thoroughly clean material. Feed system, ensuring all components including blenders, hoppers, loaders, filters, magnets, hoses, and drain ports are cleaned. Empty barrel and screw of the resident resin. Review your process sheet for the proper mold temperature settings for purging. Add purging material, 1 to 2 times barrel capacity, into empty hopper or side port. Note, actual amount needed depends on machine conditions. Increase the back pressure to the maximum safe level and the screw in the forward position, begin to purge. Note, if unable to purge with the screw in the forward position, set machine shot size between 50% and maximum allowable setting. Purge until the compound flushed out of the machine is clean. Note, if necessary, reduce back pressure and run 2 to 4 short high-velocity shots to clean the check ring. Thoroughly clean machine nozzle and sprue bushing to remove any contamination. Start up for molding and the hot runner. The screw RPM should be checked and set during initial start-up on purge material. Important detail, final screw RPM should be determined during the molding cycle. The back pressure should also be checked and set during initial start-up on purge material or after the first shot into mold. Normal suggested start-up back pressure should be 50 to 75 psi, see the material data sheet and the optimized molding parameters. Review the optimized process sheet for the proper mold temperature. Review your process sheet for the proper hot runner temperatures. For all zones must be set per the material supplier recommendation. The hot runner temperature controller display must not deviate from the optimized process parameters and must not fluctuate during molding. Make sure the mold and the hot runner system have reached its required temperatures. Before the first shot into mold, move injection unit forward to make contact with mold sprue bushing. Set shot size to the recommended part size and begin making parts. Note, if necessary, make adjustments to achieve a complete part. Continue to make parts with purging material until parts are clean. Switch over to the required molding material. After the acceptable conditions have been obtained with the purge material, switch hopper to feed the required plastic resin. Make sure you are using the required plastic resin, no contamination. Make sure the plastic resin is dried as required. Connect or turn on auxiliary feeding equipment and turn off thoroughly clean material. Feed system, ensure all components including blenders, hoppers, loaders, filters, magnets, hoses, and drain ports are cleaned. Make sure the mold and the hot runner system have reached its required temperatures. Before the first shot into mold, retract injection unit from mold, leaving ample room for purge to exit nozzle. Using your next production resin, flush out the remaining purging material. Check gates in mold for any blockage or drool and start the production run. Check the material and make sure it dried as required. Make sure all temperatures are set per the optimized molding parameters. Thoroughly clean the hopper and adjust temperature settings for your next production resin. Use the optimized molding process parameters. Mold shutdown. Maintain temperature and RPM settings for resident resin. Make sure to review shutdown protocol notes from previous runs. Retract injection unit from mold, leaving ample room for purge to exit nozzle. Disconnect or shut off auxiliary feeding equipment and thoroughly clean material. Disconnect or shut off auxiliary feeding equipment and thoroughly clean material. Feed system, ensuring all components including blenders, hoppers, loaders, filters, magnets, hoses, and drain ports are cleaned. Empty barrel and starve the screw of the resident resin. Add purging material, 1 to 2 times barrel capacity, into empty hopper or side port. Note, actual amount needed depends on machine conditions. With the screw in the forward position, purge until the compound flushed out of the machine is clean. If unable to purge with the screw in the forward position, set machine shot size between 50% and maximum allowable setting. Ensure barrel is filled with purging material to prevent the chance of oxidation. Stop screw rotation and reduce the temperature by lowering or turning off the heat zones of the machine. Caution, as the purge solidifies, take care not to rotate screw. General notes. As a rules of thumb, super small shot sizes, using less than 20% of the barrel capacity, often lead to long residence times, which in turn lead to polymer and color degradation and poor process control. Plus, big screws usually mean lower plastic pressure capability. Large shot sizes, using greater than 65% of the barrel capacity, tend to have melt quality issues like unmelt, poor melt uniformity, and long screw recovery times. Purge barrel and screw clean with suitable purging compound, natural ABS, natural polystyrene, or commercial purge such as Dyna-Purge. Sila-Purge should only be used between color changes and not for production shutdown because it contains a blowing agent mixed with a vinyl polymer. Never shut down a press with vinyl in the barrel. Keep records of the processing conditions for future use. Warning, it is important that vinyl compounds and acetal or acetal copolymers, such as Dilron or Selkin, never come in contact with each other at processing temperatures. At processing temperatures, the two materials are mutually destructive and will react violently. Thank you for your time. My name is Amer Janineh and please watch my other mold design videos.